There is a state Neville Goddard spoke of, rarely, but with precision, in which you are utterly emptied, not relaxed, not drowsy, empty. He called it the void, a place where the senses have been abandoned, where time does not press, where even the body seems to dissolve into something formless and still. From that emptiness, he said, you may plant a single seed, a desire, an assumption, and it will root in a substrate so pure, so receptive, that manifestation is not a question of time but of certainty. Now consider this. Modern physics tells us that what we perceive as empty space is not empty at all. The quantum vacuum, the so-called void between particles, is a field of infinite potential energy, fluctuating with unmanifested possibilities. Particles flicker in and out of existence there. The entire universe, some theorists say, may have emerged from exactly this, a quantum fluctuation in the void. So I ask you, when Neville spoke of the void state, and when physicists speak of the quantum field, are they describing the same thing? And if so, what does that mean for you? Right now, tonight, as you prepare to enter your own imagination? That is what we are here to explore. Welcome to Neville Goddard Universe, where we take the teachings of Neville Goddard and trace their echoes across the great mystical, esoteric, and scientific traditions of the world. I am your guide, and this is a space for those who sense that truth is not fragmented, that consciousness, reality, imagination, and even matter itself may be speaking the same language, if only we learn to listen. Today, we are stepping into one of the most elusive and powerful concepts Neville ever touched, the void state. Not just the state akin to sleep, not just SATS as we commonly understand it, but something deeper, a formless, sensorially abandoned state of pure receptivity. And we are going to hold it up against the quantum field, the zero-point energy of modern physics, and ask whether these two descriptions, one from a mystic, one from a laboratory, might be pointing to the same underlying truth. This is not metaphor. This is not poetic license. This is an exploration of whether consciousness and quantum mechanics are two languages for one reality. If this kind of exploration means something to you, if you are here because you sense there is a deeper unity beneath all these traditions, I would be honored if you'd like and subscribe. It keeps this work alive, and it tells me there are others walking this path. I am grateful for every mind that joins us here. Now, let us begin. Neville Goddard did not speak often of the void state in his early lectures. In the 1940s and 50s, his method was clear and structured. Enter the state akin to sleep. Construct a vivid scene implying your wish fulfilled. Loop it until it takes on sensory vividness, and sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That was SATS. That was the technique. And it worked. Testimony after testimony proved it. But in his later years, particularly in the 1970s, Neville began to speak more frequently of something else. He would describe a state of profound stillness, a lull, a kind of interior darkness that was not sleep but not waking either. He would say that in this state, the senses were not simply relaxed but abandoned. You were not imagining a scene in the usual way. You were not even aware of your body. You had become nothing, formless, a listening silence. A listening silence. And from that nothing, he said, you could speak a single word, a single assumption, and it would take root in a way that bypassed all resistance, all doubt, all the clutter of the waking mind. Let me give you his language. In a 1972 lecture, Neville said, "You go into a state that is void of all things. You do not see anything. You do not hear anything. You are simply aware of being, and from that void you speak your word, your desire, and it is done." Notice what he is saying. This is not visualization as we commonly understand it. This is not constructing a scene with sensory detail. This is entering a formless state and planting a seed in pure consciousness, in the dark, fertile ground of awareness itself. Now, why would this be more powerful than a vivid imaginal scene? Neville's answer is simple. Because in the void, there is no world to contradict you. There are no senses reporting otherwise. There is no time, no space, no body, no circumstance. There is only consciousness, and consciousness is the only reality. When you imagine vividly, you are impressing your desire upon the subconscious, yes, but you are still imagining within a framework of sensory experience. You see, you hear, you feel. The imaginal act is rich, but it is still structured by the forms of perception. But in the void, there is no form. There is only the I am. And when you speak into that formlessness, when you assume from that place, you are not impressing a subconscious mind. You are impressing the very substance of reality itself. Let me illustrate this with a testimony Neville shared. A woman came to him after years of financial struggle. She had tried affirmations, visualizations, techniques of all kinds. Nothing had worked. Neville told her to stop trying to see herself wealthy. He told her to enter the deepest state of stillness she could reach, not to imagine a scene, but to enter the void. Become nothing, he said. And from that nothing, simply assume you are already wealthy. Do not see it. Do not affirm it. Assume it as a fact in the dark and let it be. She did. She entered a state so deep that she later described it as falling into a blackness that was alive. She did not see herself in a new house or holding money. She simply felt, from that emptiness, I am wealthy. She let the assumption rest there, in the void, and then she slept. Within 2 weeks, an inheritance she had not known existed came to her. The amount was precise to the penny of what she had assumed. Neville said, she did not plant the desire in her mind, she planted it in the void. And the void is the womb of creation. Now, what is this void? Neville called it many things at different times. He called it the Sabbath, the rest in which God creates. He called it the silence before the Word. He called it the formless deep over which the Spirit of God moved in Genesis. But most often, in those late lectures, he simply called it the lull. The lull is the state between waking and sleeping, yes, but it is more than that. It is the state in which you are no longer identified with the body, with thought, with sensation. You are simply aware. You are consciousness without content. And this, Neville insisted, is the most powerful state in which to impress a desire, because it is the state closest to what you truly are. You are not the body. You are not the thoughts. You are the awareness in which all things arise. And when you assume from that awareness, you are assuming as God. Now, hold that thought. Because we're about to step into the language of modern physics and ask, is the void Neville spoke of the same thing physicists call the quantum field? In quantum mechanics, there is a concept that overturned classical physics and redefined what we mean by nothing. It is called the quantum vacuum, or the zero-point field. Here is what it means. If you take a volume of space and remove all matter from it, every particle, every atom, every molecule, classical physics would tell you that you now have nothing. A void. Empty space. But quantum mechanics says otherwise. Even in that so-called empty space, the field is alive. It is fluctuating with energy. Particles and antiparticles are constantly appearing and disappearing, flickering in and out of existence in fractions of a second. These are called virtual particles. They are not stable, not measurable in the usual sense, but they are real enough to produce measurable effects. The Casimir effect, for instance, proves that the vacuum is not empty. It exerts pressure between two plates placed close together in a vacuum. This energy that exists in the vacuum, even at absolute zero, is called zero-point energy. It is the baseline hum of reality. The field is never truly still. It is always vibrating with potential. Now, here is where it gets mystical. Physicists describe the quantum field as a field of infinite potential. Every possible particle, every possible state, exists in the field as a probability wave, a potential. until something collapses it into actuality. The act of observation, of measurement, is what causes the wave function to collapse and a specific outcome to manifest. Do you hear the resonance yet? Let me make it explicit. Neville said, consciousness is the only reality. The world you perceive is consciousness pushed out. Your assumption, your imaginal act, collapses infinite possibility into a single specific outcome. You do not create from nothing. You select from the infinite potential that already exists in imagination, which is the true substance of reality. Physics says, the quantum field is a field of infinite potential. Observation collapses the wave function and brings a specific outcome into manifestation. The observer is not separate from the observed. The act of measuring, of attending, creates the reality. Are these not the same teaching? Neville called the formless source of all things, the void, the silence, the deep. Physics calls it the quantum vacuum, the field, the zero-point substrate. Neville said you assume from the void and it becomes fact. Physics says the field holds all possibilities, and observation selects one and makes it actual. The language is different. The methods are different. But the ontology, the description of what reality is the same. Let me go deeper. In quantum field theory, the vacuum is not passive. It is not a blank slate. It is generative. The vacuum has energy, structure, potential. Some physicists, like John Wheeler, called it a quantum foam, a seething, fluctuating field from which particles emerge and into which they dissolve. Others, like David Bohm, spoke of an implicate order, an underlying, enfolded reality from which the explicit, manifest world unfolds. Bohm wrote, the implicate order is not a state of emptiness. It is a fullness, a plenum, in which all things are enfolded as potential, and from which all things unfold into actuality. Compare that to Neville. He said, the void is not empty. It is the womb. It is the source. It is the unconditioned awareness from which all conditions arise. Same truth. Different tongues. Now, why does this matter? Because if the void Neville spoke of and the quantum field of physics are the same thing, then what Neville was teaching was not wishful thinking or positive affirmation. It was a method of consciously entering the ground state of reality and imprinting it with intention. He was teaching you to become the observer who collapses the wave function. He was teaching you to enter the field of infinite potential and select your desired outcome, not through effort, not through visualization in the usual sense, but through assumption in the void. This is why Neville insisted that the void state requires the abandonment of the senses. Because the senses report the explicit order, the already manifested world. But the void is the implicate order, the unmanifested field. You cannot enter it while still identified with sensory perception. You must let go of the world of effects and enter the world of cause. In quantum terms, you must stop observing the collapsed wave function and return to the field of superposition, where all outcomes still exist as potential. And from that place, you assume, you observe, the outcome you desire. And in doing so, you collapse the wave function into that specific reality. This is not metaphor. This is mechanics. This is how consciousness and quantum reality may be, two expressions of one system. And if that is true, then the void state is not a mystical curiosity. It is the most practical, most powerful technique Neville ever taught. Because it is the technique that works at the level of the field itself. So how do you do it? How do you enter the void state and plant a specific desire from that place of infinite potential? Let me walk you through it, step by step, as Neville taught it in his later years. First, understand this. The void state is not about relaxation. It is about release. You are not trying to calm the mind. You are trying to let go of the mind entirely. Let go of the body, the senses, the world. You are becoming formless awareness. This is best done at night, just before sleep, because the transition into sleep naturally loosens the grip of sensory perception. but it can be done at any time if you are practiced. Begin by lying down in a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a few slow breaths, but do not focus on the breath as a technique. The breath is just a doorway. You are going to pass through it. Now, release your attention from the body. Do not try to feel your body. Do not scan it. Simply let it dissolve from your awareness. Let your hands disappear. Let your legs, your torso, your face dissolve. You are not in the body. The body is in you, in consciousness, but you are not identified with it. Next, release your attention from thought. Do not try to stop thinking. Do not fight the thoughts. Simply stop identifying with them. Let them float by like clouds. You are not the thinker. You are the awareness in which thinking arises. Let the thoughts fade. Then, release your attention from the senses. Let go of sight, even inner sight. Let go of sound. Let go of touch, taste, smell. You are not perceiving anything. You are simply aware. What remains? Only awareness itself. Only the sense of I am. Formless. Silent. Still. This is the void. You may experience it as darkness, as a kind of black silence. You may experience it as a sense of floating or dissolving. You may experience it as nothing at all, just a listening emptiness. Do not be afraid. This is the womb of creation. This is the Sabbath. This is the quantum field. Now, from that formless awareness, assume your desire. Do not visualize it. Do not construct a scene. Simply assume it as a fact. If your desire is wealth, do not see money. Simply assume, in the dark, I am wealthy. If your desire is love, do not imagine a partner. Simply assume, I am loved. If your desire is health, simply assume, I am whole. The assumption should be quiet, effortless, almost like a whisper into the void. You are not affirming. You are not convincing yourself. You are simply stating a fact into the field of all potential. And because the field is pure receptivity, it receives your assumption as law. Then, and this is crucial, let it go. Do not hold on to it. Do not repeat it. You spoke it into the void. It is done. Now, release even the assumption and dissolve into sleep. Neville said, "The void does not question. It does not resist. It simply receives and gestates. Your only task is to plant the seed and leave it alone. This is the technique. It is simple, but it requires a depth of surrender that most of us are not used to. We are so identified with the body, with thought, with the world of the senses, that releasing them feels like annihilation. But it is not annihilation. It is return. It is going home. It is entering the state from which all things emerge and to which all things return. Try it tonight. Enter the void. Assume your desire from formlessness, and then let it gestate in the silence. You are not manifesting from the world of effects. You are manifesting from the field of infinite potential. You are collapsing the wave function. You are speaking the word into the deep, and the deep will answer. So what does it mean that Neville Goddard, a mystic who read the Bible as psychological allegory, and quantum physicists working with particle accelerators and wave equations, arrived at the same description of reality? It means this: consciousness is not a byproduct of matter. Matter is a byproduct of consciousness. The quantum field is not a dead mechanical substrate. It is alive. It is aware. It is responsive. And you, the one who is aware, the one who assumes, the one who observes, you are not separate from it. You are it, localized. You are the field, knowing itself. Every great tradition has said this. The Upanishad said, Tat Taivam Asi, thou art that. The Kabbalists spoke of Ein Sof, the infinite, from which all finite forms emerge. The Buddhists spoke of Sunyata, the void that is also fullness. Hermeticism said, the all is mind, the universe is mental. And now, physics, reluctantly, cautiously, but undeniably, is saying the same thing. The universe is not a machine. It is a field of potential, shaped by observation, responsive to intention, participatory in nature. Neville said it plainly, consciousness is the only reality. And if that is true, if consciousness is the ground of being, then entering the void is not escaping reality. It is entering the deepest layer of reality. It is going to the source code. This is why the void state works. Not because you are manifesting in the usual sense, but because you are returning to the field and rewriting the code. You are assuming as the awareness that is prior to all form, and form has no choice but to follow. You are not creating something from nothing. You are selecting something from everything. The void is not empty. It is full, infinitely full, of every possible outcome, every possible world, every possible version of you. And when you assume from that place, you are not hoping it will work. You are determining which possibility will actualize. This is not magic. This is physics. This is consciousness operating as it was designed to operate. And the fact that Neville knew this, taught this, lived this without ever reading a quantum mechanics textbook tells us something profound. It tells us that truth is not found. It is remembered. It is uncovered. It is realized in the deepest sense of that word, made real again in awareness. The mystics and the physicists are not opponents. They are two hands reaching toward the same source from different directions, and they are both pointing at you. You are the observer. You are the field. You are the void and the word spoken into it. And the world you see is exactly what you have assumed it to be. So we return to the question we began with. Is the void state Neville spoke of the same thing as the quantum field of modern physics? And I tell you now, not as speculation, but as lived truth, yes, they are the same. They are two languages for the one reality that you are. Tonight, when you lie down to sleep, you have a choice. You can remain identified with the body, with the senses, with the world of effects. Or you can release all of that and enter the void. You can become formless awareness. And from that formlessness, you can assume the truth of your desire, not as wish, not as hope, but as fact, spoken into the field of all potential. If this exploration has stirred something in you, if you sense that these threads are worth following, I would be grateful if you would like and subscribe. It keeps this work alive, and it reminds me that there are others walking this path. I thank you for being here. The void is not a place you go. It is what you are when all else is stripped away. It is the silence before the word. It is the field before the particle. It is the I am before the world. And when you assume from that place, you are not hoping the universe will respond. You are the universe, responding to itself. You are consciousness, selecting from infinite potential and collapsing the wave function into the life you have dared to claim. Neville said, dare to assume it. Quantum mechanics says, observation collapses the wave. And both are telling you the same thing. You are not a victim of reality. You are its author. You are not waiting for change. You are the change, occurring at the level of the field itself. The void is not empty. It is everything, and you are not separate from it. You are the awareness in which it breathes. So enter it, speak into it, assume from it, and watch as the world rearranges itself to reflect the truth you have planted in the dark.